All right, we'll get started. Samantha, do you mind turning off your mic?
Okay.
Thank you. You can turn it on if you have a question later, but I can hear little things. But let's get rolling. All right. So I'm going to backtrack to last week, Thursday, just for a minute. And I'm going to talk about something else as I get into talk about like a little bit more of this branding and keeping a brand, knowing a brand and working with that brand. And, some of that is logo usage, ideas, and how you really have to follow the brand rules. So we'll get into that. It won't be terribly long. Don't worry. But last week, or Thursday, I talked about text and margins here. Again, being too tight and, like giving yourself some space. And I feel like I talk about this a lot and I'm like, oh, again, the type is too tight. Like, what do you do? And I'm trying to think of ways, fun ways for everybody to remember stuff. And one of them then maybe is parking. We want to park. You park your car in a space and it's real nice, right? Until somebody else comes and parks too tight. Like this. And you can't get out and there's no room for movement, or they park crooked. That's like putting your type too tight in a spot. There should be plenty of room. You should feel like when you park the car perfectly and you pull in and there's room all around it and you're like, oh, I'm perfect. And then somebody comes in with more type and they put it right up against your car, and you're like, why? There is so much room. Why did you need to park so close to me? So that's the same thing we should think about with design elements in a piece is like, why does it need to be so close to that other one? Give it some room. Give it some parking room. It's there. The other item should be further away. So that's a big one. And you hear me talk about this, and it's somewhat hard to explain, but more is better. More space is better than less space. So if you're ever on the edge, think, when I park my car, I want more space around it than less, and use that analogy. Like, okay, yeah, I get in there and or you be one of those people, you park in the back of the parking lot where nobody else parks. Put your design out there and then design around it and give it room. Give that part of your design more room. So, of course, you're going to hear me state this in other projects that you do, but there was a better one. I came up with that and I was like, this is like parking now. Like, park in the space and make sure that when somebody else parks that you still have room and it's all good. So kind of keep that in mind. More room is better room. Keep that in mind. So thank you for the digression. Moving on as we do. Working on those logos. They're due tonight, midnight. I'll be checking them tomorrow morning. I hope I got a meeting in the morning. But yes, I will get to them and we'll check them out and I'll see what you do. And we do the logo and then we want 10 revisions of that logo as normal. When working with logos, so we have the Bronner's assets that I have beautifully got for everybody. And again, I want to talk about minimum clearance. Now I'm breaking the rules a little bit. I'm going to talk about minimum clearance. I'm going to talk about the logo itself. So it is called, when we work on these, I think they call it up here. Well, they don't use the word. Okay. Lockups. Logo lockup. That means when we use the logo, we do not change any parts of the pieces. It is locked up. I want to use the tall one. I use the tall one as is, keeping in mind that this pink space around it is a clear spot. I've broken that rule in my design, and I'm accepting that. And if you break that rule in your design, I will probably let it go. But only if it's a logo lockup and you use the logo as it is in the design. Now, we have all these logos. Sorry, I got like 40 programs open. Here it is. And it's not in parts and pieces. It all travels together, and it travels together. It goes together. Don't take like, oh, I want just this, and I'm going to move this over here. You broke the law right there. You broke the design law. We can't do that. It goes as one. If you want this logo somewhere, this logo as a whole travels with it. Because it's otherwise you're distorting the company image. The company built this logo over years. People recognize it. They're even they get a little crazy even about which hand is the white hand, which hand is a dark hand even. If you look through their guidelines, there are respectable, they say, if you want to work with us and we need you to use the logo, you need to use it properly. And here are our rules. Every company has these rules as part of the brand. Back in my former life as an art director, I worked with literally hundreds of different clients over the years. They all have these. Every company has a logo guideline. You want to use our logo, here it is, here are the guidelines. If they don't, they're probably pretty brand new. But they should have some sort of instruction of what not to do with their logo. So we don't take it apart. We don't, like, oh, what if I just, you can resize it? Well, that's one thing. Well, one, we don't take it apart. Oh, I wish I had more space. And then, so I'm just going to take this part and move it over here. No. You are not allowed to do that. I want just this alone without that. They don't allow that. They do not let this go separately than this. So you don't do it. If you want to do it, you first look in that PDF that are included and you look at them and you go through and then you make sure. And then you're like, oh, here, not enough clear space, no custom colors, reverse logo in a blue box and a white substrate. This may not look wrong to you. You're like, that's right. But when they talk about the arms being reversed, that's why. This is the wrong logo on the wrong background. And it signified that the correct arm is on the wrong side. Or here it is, reverse logo on blue box. Oh, because the countries are wrong or something like that. So they know why. Don't distort the logo. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Wrong logo, arm on the wrong side. So we just double check before we go any further. Like, how am I using that within my logo lockup? Is it good? What color could the light background, dark background? They have like, what makes a big difference? We have different logos for different kinds of backgrounds. And they specify that, they'll also check it. So brand, as this is a branding class, it's very important to understand the brand, what that brand looks like, and then moving forward to using their brand to create what we're doing is a promotion based on their brand. And so so you use their brand. You don't distort it. We don't make it like weird, anything else. Now, as everybody knows, my other favorite thing to gripe about is type. And I'm messing around and having some fun learning some new things on the side. And for anybody, whenever touching the logos and or anything like this, it's a logo lockup. And the second you go here, or here to adjust the size, you must hold down the shift button on your keyboard. You never freehand it. Always shift. Shifting constrains it. The only program that's now reversed is Photoshop. So I mess up Photoshop all the time because I hold down shift and you don't have to. I have no clue of why Photoshop is reversed of the other two programs, but I've also looked up, is there a way to auto constrain in Illustrator? And there is not. What they do always tell you to do is this. Hold down the shift key. So I don't know if I'll see you guys after this. I don't think I'll be done with enough of these little animated GIFs I'm making to start teaching students about like what not to do, what to do, and to constrain your type. You simply hold down the shift key. And that constrains type, that constrains images, that constrains logos, anything you make. If you have your own design, hold down shift to make things smaller, to constrain it. That will keep the proportion from the left, from the upper, from the height and the width, in proportion throughout. So always hold down shift. Seriously, I joked with a student, more than one student this week, that I'm surprised my shift keys aren't worn out on my keyboards because my hand is constantly on the shift key. No matter what I do, I'm holding down shift. Even if I'm like, oh, I'm going to move this logo over here, I hold down the shift key just to move it in a straight line. I never have my one hand off the keyboard. It's always holding down a key to aid within my design until I like move it to grab a drink of tea. So start holding down, having that hand on top of that shift key whenever you design is going to save you time, troubles, so many things. Just you shouldn't ever. The second the hand goes here and I click, my hand goes to shift. I can't not do it. I have a special shortcut keypad and my hand still goes to the keyboard. I'm training myself to use the shortcut keypad instead, but I'm so used to going to shift. So make sure you're doing that. When we do this, we're doing this correctly. Hold down shift. And I'll check. Now that's that. All right. So now what I can do is I can show you like, oh, he used the logo. So I'm going to copy. And this is paste. This I showed just a little bit last week, Thursday. These were direction I was going. I was hoping to have more. And lo and behold, I did not. Again, I'm increasing the size of that logo and I held down shift. And I am perfectly on it. I have not left enough space around it. But for this purpose, I'm letting it go. And I've seen some other logos and I haven't talked too much about, getting up. If we start to overlap on the logo, I'm going to say, let's not overlap on the logo. Let's keep that logo open so it does represent the company as the logo form that anybody would know from seeing the logo. So we're going to do that. Was there a question?
Yeah,
Yes.
you overlapped on the stars on the bottom logo.
And I should be slapped for doing that. And
Not
I won't
slapped.
do it.
Not slapped.
No, but that would come back. And so the client would come back and say, you got to fix that. It's got to be smaller than that. And in fact, I don't think I went with this one. This was just an example. But yeah, no, exactly. You saw it. I did it. And I shouldn't have. So if I was to do this again, I would bring in my logo and I'd hold down the shift key and make it small enough. Why is there an error? And then maybe do that and make sure that that's out of there. And then I would clear this and where is it? It's like an image, delete there. And then that looks even worse because now it's really offset over there. And just in general, that doesn't work. But you know what? It was an experimentation within these bounds. What I probably would want is this one. What? Oh, there. This one over here. Again, I'm moving it. I'm holding down shift. I'm going to delete that. And I'll probably fit that one in there. There you go. And that's probably a better solution to that. But again, I was going around trying different things, different ideas on this look and feel. Now, I hope everybody's visited the Dr. Bronner site, checked some things out, and I hope you've also looked up maybe skincare products and soap products to get an idea of what people are doing out there and which direction that maybe you could go with your designs as well. This is, there's no difference there. All right. This I talked about when after I do my sketching, I type out the words and then I can move the words around and see what works, what doesn't work, adding things. I made that weird olive, put a little leaf there. I don't know. These aren't great and I didn't have time to do new ones. I don't know if I can by Thursday. I'll see. I did some other sketching, but I actually erased my sketch. So not a big deal. All right. So I'm going to close out some things so I can get more. Don't save. Don't save. Don't save. All right, that's the one I want. All right, so let's go back to our course. Of course, just like the last two project, or the last project, last two, this is three. Okay, come up with your logos, and then I want you to do variations. You worked on it, and then I want those variations for next week because you should be able to see like, oh, I did variations, and now I see this one may work better. You have a poster, flyer, and website opener screen, which should all pretty much look the same in the end. You know, like we're developing a consistent brand, a consistent look for the Earth Day celebration, as we're calling it, for Dr. Bronner's. I want it all to be consistent. If you use pink, then you use pink on everything. If you use a pattern, that pattern carries through on every piece. It's a brand. And then just like McDonald's, they use red and gold, they use red and gold on everything. They update their, or Burger King's new like funky 70s. I don't know if they're still doing that. I don't know. Last time I was at Burger King was like probably 3 years ago. They do it, and they do it on everything. It's not like all of a sudden you see like a pink and green McDonald's ad. You don't. It's red and gold. Green Bay Packers for any sports fans. Like they're consistent in their color usage and the way they use everything. So that's what we're learning with this branding. You can do a lot of stuff within a brand and change it. So I have your poster and your flyer here. I think it's the same stuff you used in the past. And then I have the web screen opener, which you can download. You just download them. That's it. It fits within the context. You should have another piece. Oh, no, it fits right in. So you can even screenshot your Dr. Bronner's. If I didn't supply that, I thought I did. It might be coming up in a future piece. But the website opener is this. Well, look, they changed it in the past week. Cherry blossom. I'm curious about that. I want cherry blossom. I didn't know they made a cherry blossom. I'm going to go buy that now. Look, they got me. I do buy this stuff a lot. Not a lot, But okay, so I digress. So now look at this. Very beautiful, very pink. Like, oh, it's the cherry blossoms in Japan. I believe, right? And then very cute. Look at it. They have everything is matching. They did one other. This is a perfect branding thing where they did this, cherry blossom. Then they have this whole new look and feel. And again, these weren't there when I downloaded everything, but it's there now. So if you want to add this to your color repertoire, please do. I do use it for that, for my soap foamers, and then new look. Now it's like old look. Look, they're even mentioning to people about we changed our packaging a bit. Instead of pure Castile soap, it's magic soap, and then the flavor. Like, how great is that? Like, they changed some stuff in the upper, but they're saying like it's the same stuff. It's new. So now I'm going in and I want to create my first piece. And this, I think, this is the old web page, mind you. And what I went into, and it's going to get kind of blurry and fuzzy. I'm sorry, because I don't have everything. As I started to think about backgrounds, what do I want to use for backgrounds? And then I got a bunch of images and I started to play around to see like what could I play with. So this is like the web screen. And so I'm working with one. And I was like, oh, I could do people washing hands. And here it's kind of like centered around the hands. How does that look? It's a little bit distracting. I need more image. I totally feel like this was before I was using Photoshop to extend images, whatever. And then they have the space theme or the bubble. So I found pictures of bubbles and I got like cool ones. I was like, okay, does this work? I'm feeling it. And then this is more bubbles. But this is more of their color tone. And I think I went in the Photoshop and I got, just random images of bubbles that were high enough res. It's not high enough res showing here because I don't have the links anymore. But I was looking for bubbles, like, oh, what about these bubbles? Well, this is more on top of their color scheme, but it's too light. Like we're dealing with dark darks to light lights. And I know you're saying it's too pixelated, I know, but it looked like bubbles at one point. Here, just solid. Or I think maybe I darkened it. So I put an overlay. What if I put a color overlay on this to start making things darker? Does it pop more? How does it feel? Does it feel soapy? This is full screen. This one was space because somewhere on their website, they spaceship, I don't want to say the spaceship one, but it talks, Dr. Brana, the originator, in his All One theories, I think he, does talk about that whole kind of spaceship Earth thing. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try a space background. And then I darkened the space background because I wasn't liking it. And then I believe I went with a blue background because to me, everything seemed too distracting. And so I was like, let's do a blue background. So I went through that process. I didn't pick one and go with it. I was trying many, many different things. And this doesn't take long. I want to say probably did that maybe not even an hour. You just kind of sit there. Like, what are some ideas? Scratch down ideas, write them on a piece of paper, post-it note somewhere. Be like, what if I did bubbles? What if I did, this? What if I did that? What if I did the other thing? And you just write a bunch down and you find some stuff to fit it. That's how I do it. And so I'm trying to still keep within the brand. And so I went to the blue. And then I started playing around. So I wanted to do something very different than I have done in the past. And I wanted to really show off the product and not just have it be a logo. Like I wanted this is like an Earth Day celebration, and I wanted to showcase that product. And that's where I was going. So I think this comes in later. I needed that. That was just a guide. And then for some reason, all these are dead links or dead ideas. But what I did, that was to help me. I got a bottle and I traced the bottle. And I believe if you open the bottles, there might be a path already available for you. If not, I created a path from a bottle. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to paste it. So then what I did is I took a bottle, and it's a perfect tracing of their bottle. I didn't use anybody else's bottle. I didn't make up a bottle. I did a perfect tracing of their bottle. And then I made a bottle for every one of their flavors and just kind of put it in a pattern. So this is rose. Oh, don't make me go through them all. Tea tree, eucalyptus, spearmint, baby, whatever. And I think there's one missing. But it's almost every one of their flavors sort of represented. And I did it in this weird pattern in which I can split down the middle, and it's mirrored. This is mirrored to this. This is mirrored to this. This is mirrored to this, and this is there. And I was thinking kind of like a flower. And so I wanted that. And so I created this pattern that was kind of like this celebration around it. Now that I see this now, it's kind of busy body. but it's kind of like this celebration around it. And I like that it was kind of creating a star also. I like that idea. And that's where I had to go when you look at this weird thing I had to do like this. I was trying to get it, engage it to be like perfectly symmetrical, but it's offset a little bit. And I need to do some mathematics to figure things out to get it to work right. And so I did this. And then this is now my theme, you know? So I did this. I can't remember why I had this turned on. Oh, I can see the space background in the bottle. Maybe that was from tracing. And then I also included the images of the bottle in here as well. And I think I had to offset it because it doesn't come perfectly around, or it doesn't make sense because there's a certain amount of sense involved. And I had to change up my math. I've learned more since last year when I did this about separating those out. And I had a year of where this rotate tool wouldn't work on my computer. It shut it down. It was really messed up, but now it works. So then I went with this. And then I was like, life. We need to spice this up, right? This is kind of cool, but it's also kind of plain. And so then I played around. And I thought, you know what? People having fun. Let's get some people having fun, enjoying life, you know, laughing, just enjoying Earth Day, if they aren't, you know, and having a great old time. So that's where I went with this. And then this whole theme then carries through to everything else. For my poster, I will use this logo. I will use a semblance of this design, but I'm not going to change the color background. I'm not making a new poster. I'm taking everything I used and that I'm happy with in one area and transferring that to the next area, and transferring that to the next area, and transferring that to the next area. And if I start to get a little crazy and I'm like, oh, you know what? I got this fever and it needs, you know, I want like vines everywhere. Now I have to then take these vines and put them on all the other pieces as well. You know, if I change, like for some reason I change day in one, I have to go back and change that and everything else. We are trying to create a consistent brand message throughout many pieces that seen in different stores are recognizable. If I go to Walgreens, I see this. If I go to Target, I see the same thing. I know what it's about. And I'm not like, oh, you know, like all of a sudden, if it would be this to this, I might question what I'm seeing. I might be like, oh, is that the same promotion? It's got a different color background. I haven't seen that anywhere else. I actually like that green background, but then these bottles don't pop out. So I hope that makes sense of why we, you know, talk about this with a brand. A brand is kind of like the lifeline. It's what people see and they should recognize it wherever they go, just like you do. Just like when you go shopping. You know your brand, you know where it is, and you know what to look for on a label when you go to reach for it. And it doesn't take you long. I want the Kroger organic northern beans. I know where it is, what the can looks like, and I go in and grab it and I don't question it. I know the brand. I know that that's the one I want by visually looking at it. And if they were to change it, it would stop me in my tracks and I'd be like, okay, wait, is this the same one? And I have to reread it. So there we go. Branding, logo development. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, cool. Well, I look forward. I'm very excited to see what comes down the pipeline. tonight and tomorrow. So it'll be tomorrow. And look for my comments as we move forward. You know, as you wait for my comments, you can always do the other projects for the week. And yeah, thank you very much. I'll talk to you on Thursday with some tricks and tips. Take care. Bye-bye.